Good morning. The month of December 1965 was a very important time that decided my career as well as life later on. When I came back from New Delhi after the PFU doctoral fellowship interview, the news that came to me was that Professor Rajendran Nair Rajan Sir was selected for the fellowship, USSR government fellowships, and he will be leaving soon the country to join the program. When I came back in the first week of December, I got a telegram that I too had the offer, but I did not have the passport, but there was enough time to get a passport, as was told by Sri late Baby John Andrapur's brother, who used to work for Kerala Travels. And without wasting time, I went and collected application blanks, etc., to apply for a passport from the senior elder Andrapur from Kerala Travels. Kerala Travels used to work in the building, in a building opposite of the University College, where now the Hotel Horizon stands. Okay. Then of course I came back home. I told Menon sir that I too have the offer to go to PFU for a 4-year period to do a PhD. Menon sir congratulated, but he was not very much excited. I was not concerned about his excitement or otherwise, because it is something that is very personal to me. Even though he had been a very important person in my student period, he had influenced me a lot. Then I, informed Kishan Nair sir and Raju sir that I too have a fellowship offer to PFU, and I could be going to Moscow very soon. Then I came back home and told my parents that I have this offer, about which they were not at all impressed. And my brother was sort of an ambivalent mind. He did not say it was great, or he did not say it was very poor. Then I was in a dilemma also, because first and foremost I had to be away for 4 years to do a PhD. Secondly, I had no job at home, whereas Rajan sir has a job at the home state. Then it was a very important thing for me to make up my mind as to whether I should be going or not. Well, I had enough time to make up my mind and inform the Ministry of Education, because I had only a telegram. There will be a packet sort of coming through the India Post to me. And that is where the details of the offer, etc., the contract I have to sign with the ministry, and things of that sort would be contained. Dr. Rajan sir has already done all these things, and he is already leaving, applied for leave, and the university has agreed. So happens that by the mid-December, or rather 10th of December or so, I got the packet. And I went through the packet several times, the contents, the different letters addressed to me by the ministry, and other details that I will have to provide to the ministry or to the PFU. Because as far as I am concerned, there was no question of going to any other university than the PFU at Moscow. Well, then what I did, I did not have to consult anyone. I had no one to consult with as to whether I should be going or not. Finally, one fine morning, I decided I am not going because there was a hunch in my mind that once Rajan sir goes, there will be a vacancy of a lecturer. I stood first in the BSc class. I stood first in the MSc class. I have some kind of a research experience, and the head of the department, Menon sir, has an impression about me, my limitations, as well as my capabilities. But then I took it as a simple matter that, when it comes to selection of a lecturer or in the university, these things would count a lot. Well, it turned to be otherwise. That is a different story. Then what I did, I told the next day or so to Manon sir that, sir, I decided not to go because I just spoke a little small, what you call as a small lie. Some small lies are always not unwelcome because you want to escape a certain situation, you have to just hide a fact. I told that my parents are against my going away for 4 years, etc., etc. Then he said, yeah, it's a good thing that, you decide that way because, by the time you come back here, you will never know what is available in the job market for you. So then what I did, I went back to the work I was doing, look at the so-called framboyant search. And I came up with some very exciting points. Firstly, we had in the Koilon limestone tin section scattered grains of pyrite, which are visible under the the reflected light. Of those days we had our own reflecting microscope by Biopta. But what I used to do for getting that so-called reflectance effect was to shine a powerful lamp, microscope lamp, not fitted with the microscope, but another, something will shine a spotlight on the skin section. So that was a very useful thing for searching the slide. What you do is you cut down the transmitted light to some degree and or some combination of reflected from the slide and transmitted from the bottom of the stage. So it was an exciting discovery that we had still relatively large, so to speak, micron or more in size cubic crystals of pyrite. Aggregates are thin slabs, not a flat slab, but a corrugated slab, whatever you call it, of pyrite aggregates. And then the strangest thing was the so-called rhomboids, which is an aggregation of microcrystals or crystallites in a typical spherical form or shape occurring within the chambers of foraminifera. Well, Koilon is known also for what is called presence of Operculina malabarica, which is a macroforaminifera or foraminifer. So I saw some chambers of Malabaric operculina also having this aggregation of pyrite into spherical balls that is called in science then as rhomboids. So the presence of rhomboidal pyrite, presence of aggregates of pyrite, presence of independent grains of pyrite, all these were very exciting. And then of course I went into what is called, what is the geochemistry part of it. How does it form? Well, there was that year in 65, early part of 65, a new book on solutions, minerals and equilibria appeared in the print. which department purchased. This is authored by Garrels and Christ. And then there was what is called some kind of a fence diagram or a PH diagram, which is divided into several sub-fields. And there was a diagonal line which said that, which separated the oxidizing environment from the what is called the reducing environment. And within the reducing environment, there was a sub-area which was written in with names like pyrite or sulfide mineral names, not only for sulfide. There are other sulfide minerals that you can occur under the reducing environment. So this EHPA thing was a big revelation, and I did not know deeply well about what is the EHPA, etc., because EH I came across actually when I started looking at the pyrite only. But then, there was a paper that appeared in Journal of Geology prior to 1965, authored by the very same Garrels along with Mr. Professor Crumbine. Garrels and Crumbine paper, or rather Combine and Garrels paper that appeared in the Journal of Geology was also very exciting in the sense it gave a lot of details. So I took this journal and the book to Professor Sir and told the Sir that, sir, it is possible in an overall oxidizing environment you can have micro environments where reducing conditions and reduction pH can occur, where sulfide minerals are possible to form. And then Sir said, okay, issue this to the Journal of Geology as well as the new book, Garrels and Christ in Professor's name, so that he will make a reading. He will read it very well and then check whatever I said I was okay or fine. So finally, Professor Menon convinced himself that it is pyrite. One, pyrite can occur in all the three different states of occurrence, that is independent single crystals, aggregates of crystals, as well as framboids. And as far as framboids were concerned, Love had suggested that the chambers of the foraminifera are the so-called foraminiferal chambers, because this little more unicellular thing lives only in the latest chamber. The other chambers are actually filled with some kind of a gas, and probably, that has led to the deficiency in oxygen level in the reducing environment and other whatever are required for the formation of pyrite in framboids. And framboids always occurred, at least in the colloidal limestone, within some kind of a chamber of a fossil. So that was a great advantage or a piece of knowledge, and that was it. So the time was passing by. Rajendra sir actually left, and by the middle of December, but Professor Menon sir, what he did was, he met the Vice Chancellor then, and it was Professor Samuel Mathai, and informed that one of the teachers has gone out on a long leave, on study leave to Soviet Union, and there is a vacancy therefore. And there are two classes, a junior and a senior class. They have to be made ready for appearing for the April examinations. And therefore, some arrangement has to be made, and probably, naturally, my Vice Chancellor should have asked what is the new arrangement you suggested. But then Menon sir should have told, get a list of people from the employment exchange and, choose one of them by an interview or whatever means. So he probably gave a note also in this effect. And university was very quick in taking action because it was from the vice chancellor to the registrar down, etc. So when sir came and then on another day told me that hey, you go and see if rector from the university has gone to the what is called a professional employment exchange and make a request to them to expedite the reply. Well, without waiting for a longer time, I took my bicycle and rode to the employment exchange, professional employment exchange. I met the clerk or somewhere, some staff are there, and told this is the situation. How do you react to it? In other words, well, he said I have to check whether such a letter has come. Then was very good enough in the sense. He went and checked what is called the inward register in the offices, and in the inward register, yes, it was there. So he located the letter and told me then that I have the letter. Within 2 days, it will be sent to the university. So that was the third week or toward the end of December. But all said and done, as soon as the letter came to the university, in the list obviously I was the number one, and number two I do not remember well who it was. But anyway, without any further screening process, the vice chancellor probably ticked or checked against my name, and I got an appointment letter from the University of Kerala in the month of January 1966. And in the first week, I think I joined as an instructor at a consolidated salary of rupees 300 per month on the 6th of January 1966. And I was indeed very pleased. Naturally, obviously, I had to teach my own juniors and juniors. So it was a good start. It was a pleasant start. Plus, I had all the the notes to teach applied geology and structural geology borrowed from what Rajan sir, and that he had used in the classes. Okay, that was how I started teaching geology in the university.